Number 10. Bylong Elevator. At 1,070 feet, 326 meters tall, the controversial Bylong 100 Dragons Elevator in Hunan, China is the world's tallest outdoor lift. Located in the Zhangjiajie National Forest, this impressive engineering feat was built into a quartz sandstone cliff face starting in 1999, and it opened to the public in 2002. It consists of 3 glass-faced double-deck elevators that run parallel to one another, traveling inside the mountain's walls for the lower 505 feet, 154 meters of the journey. The upper 565 feet, 172 meters, offers fascinating views of the surrounding forest and mountains. The elevator cars hold up to 50 passengers each and make the steep ascent in just a minute and 32 seconds, thanks to a 2015 upgrade. In addition to being the world's tallest outdoor lift, the Bylong Elevator is the world's tallest double-deck sightseeing elevator and the world's fastest passenger traffic elevator with the biggest carrying capacity, according to Atlas Obscura. But it hasn't been without its fair share of controversies. The Bylong Elevator is in an earthquake-prone region, and for a 10-month period between 2002 and 2003, it was shut down to address safety concerns. It's also in a protected park and is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, which stirred debate about whether or not it was ethical to implement a massive steel structure. Environmentalists argued that the elevator attracts tourists to an already overburdened natural site, while those who disagreed claimed that the lift reduces wear and tear on footpaths and roads that visitors were previously required to use to access the site. Would you ride in this elevator? Let me know in the comments down below. Number 9. Giant's Causeway. Along Ireland's northern coast in County Antrim, there are around 40,000 polygonal interlocking basalt columns, which make up what's known as the Giant's Causeway. This seemingly otherworldly site was created between 50 and 60 million years ago during the Paleocene epoch, when a massive volcanic eruption spewed molten basalt and formed a plateau. As it cooled, the lava contracted and cracked similarly to drying mud, forming the geometric-looking pillars that stand there today. According to Gaelic mythology, the columns are a causeway built by an Irish giant named Fionn mac Cumhail, Finn McCool, who constructed the site across the North Channel to respond to a fight challenge from Scottish giant Benindonner. Fionn realized that his adversary was much larger than him and fled back over the causeway to his wife, who disguised him as a baby. When Benindonner saw Fionn dressed as an infant, he believed it was Fionn's child and could only imagine how huge Fionn must be. Benindonner turned and ran across the causeway back to Scotland, destroying much of it along the way so that Fionn could not chase him. Whether you consider the Giant's Causeway to be a geological oddity or the scene of a mythical battle, or if you want to see it firsthand before deciding for yourself, it's open to the public and guided tours are available. Number 8. Glass Beach. The southern beach of McCarricher State Park in Fort Bragg, California is filled with a mix of pebbles and soft, colorful pieces of glass. Nicknamed Glass Beach, it's one of 3 sites in the area that were used as trash dumps between 1906 and 1967. When the dumping activities stopped, years' worth of all sorts of garbage was piled at the edge of the sea, including electronics, cans, bottles, and other items. A major cleanup effort was undertaken in 1988, and in 2002, the Glass Beach was incorporated into McCarricher State Park. Over time, the remaining glass and pottery fragments became weathered and polished, leaving behind a colorful array of decorative-looking stones. Tens of thousands of people visit the site every year. To help maintain the beach's unique look, park staff deter visitors from taking souvenirs. But many, if not most people, take some sea glass with them. And it seems only inevitable that eventually, Glass Beach will be just ordinary beach. It already looks much less colorful than it used to, and so far campaigns to replenish the sea glass have been unsuccessful. Have you ever been here before? Let me know in the comments, and be sure to subscribe to American Eye for more videos like these. Number 7. Thors Well. Nicknamed the drain pipe of the Pacific, Thors Well is a natural gaping sinkhole in Yakuts, Oregon that seems to be draining the sea and which never seems to fill. Located along the west coast near Cape Perpetua, experts believe that it likely began as a sea cave carved out by waves on the basalt shoreline. Eventually, the roof collapsed, creating openings at the top and bottom. The hole measures an estimated 20 feet, 6 meters deep, but this natural wonder is not as bottomless as it appears. It is dangerous, however, as Atlas Obscura points out. But not that dangerous, according to Siuslaw National Forest Field Ranger Vicki Penwell, who told Oregon Live in 2016 that 3 people had been hit by unexpected waves so far that year, with no serious injuries incurred. The best views of Thors Well are at high tide and during storms, when visitors can see the water funneling down at full force. There are several other fascinating similar features nearby, including a spouting horn called Cook's Chasm and Devil's Churn, a narrow Pacific Ocean inlet that displays dramatic waves crashing and water churning. Number 6. Georgia's Guidestones. Nicknamed the American Stonehenge, the Georgia Guidestones are a series of 6 granite tablets arranged in the shape of a star. Located at the highest point in Elbert County, Georgia, USA, they are engraved with a collection of rules that their anonymous commissioner believes mankind needs to follow in order to restore humanity in the aftermath of the apocalypse. A short message graces the top of the monument in 4 ancient languages: Greek, Babylonian cuneiform, Sanskrit, and Egyptian hieroglyphics. The rules themselves are written in 8 languages, including English, Spanish, Swahili, Hindi, Hebrew, Arabic, Chinese, and Russian. Included among the 10 guidelines are rules such as balance personal rights with social duties, rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason, and be not a cancer on the earth, leave room for nature. So what's the story behind the Georgia Guidestones? In 1979, a man wishing to conceal his identity hired a local granite finishing company to build a monument containing instructions for the reestablishment of society. Per the terms of a legal agreement, all the structure's plans were to be destroyed upon its completion. The strange man, who went by the pseudonym R.C. Christian, and who seemingly had limitless money for the project, insisted on all information regarding his identity be strictly withheld from the public. Conspiracy theories about who he was abound, including rumors of the New World Order or Satanists being behind the guidelines. These far-fetched ideas have led to extreme vandalism, but have not brought anyone closer to identifying the monument's commissioner or commissioners. To date, all that is known about the anonymous sponsor or sponsors is that they are, according to a statement on the monument itself, a small group of Americans who seek the age of reason. Number 5. Lake Hillier. Located on Middle Island off the western Australian coast, Lake Hillier is a bright pink saltwater lake that was first discovered in 1802 by cartographer and navigator Matthew Flinders. To this day, scientists don't know what causes Lake Hillier's vivid hue. Most experts believe that it has something to do with the presence of Dunaliella salina microalgae, which produce the carotenoid beta-caroene, a pigment commonly found in carrots. These photosynthetic organisms are highly salt-tolerant and generate energy using the light spectrum, minus red and orange frequencies. The water's distinctively fuchsia shade may also result from a reaction between salt and sodium bicarbonate. Another possible explanation stems from the halophilic bacteria found in its salt crusts. Whatever the reason, Lake Hillier's hypersaline water is safe for humans to swim in, but it's a protected nature reserve and visitors are only permitted under special circumstances. Anyway, the best views are from above by helicopter, which allows spectators to see the pink lake contrasting against the blue ocean next to it. Number 4. Gontija. Located on the Maltesian island of Gozo, Gontija is a megalithic temple complex made from enormous stones, some which exceed 16 feet and weigh more than 50 tons, 45.4 metric tons. Older than the Egyptian pyramids, the 2 temples that make up the site were erected at least 5,500 years ago, or around 3600 BC, during the Neolithic Age, before the advent of the wheel or metal stone cutting tools. They're among the world's oldest religious man-made structures, second only to Göbekli Tepe in southern Turkey. Gontija fell into disuse around 2500 BC and was reclaimed by nature. The site wasn't fully uncovered again until the 19th century. One of the reasons the buildings have survived so long is because the outer walls are made of a hard coralline limestone. Inner furnishings such as doorways, decorative slabs, and altars were constructed using a softer and smoother type of limestone. The name Gontija translates to Giantess's Tower. According to local legend, a giantess named Sausuna constructed the semicircular structures by carrying the enormous stones to the site on her head. It makes sense that later generations assumed that no amount of humans could have moved the massive boulders on their own, but archaeologists and scholars, of course, do not accept this explanation. The discovery of small stone spheres at the site, which may have been used as ball bearings for moving the giant stones, provides one clue for explaining how mortals could have in fact built the temples on their own. Researchers believe that Gontija served as a ceremonial site for fertility rituals, which likely involved animal sacrifices. A large terrace at the front of the temples, as well as animal bones and the presence of stone hearths, lend credibility to this theory. Number 3. Badabisht. Over the course of thousands of years, a series of travertine terraces known as Badabisht developed in what is now northern Iran's Mazandaran province. Travertine is a type of limestone formed from the deposits in flowing water. In the case of Badabisht, as the carbonated water from 2 mineral hot springs cooled, it deposited carbonate minerals in the mountainside. Originally formed during the Pleistocene and Pliocene epochs, the terraces have an unusual reddish color. owing to one of the springs' high iron oxide content. Located at 6,040 feet, 1,840 meters above sea level, each of the two springs has different natural characteristics. The water in the first spring has an unusually high salt content, as well as alleged medicinal properties that help to cure rheumatism and a host of other skin ailments. The second spring is sour to the taste and orange in color and is the one with a high iron oxide content. As a result, the terraced pools boast an array of red, orange, and yellow pools that take the form of a natural staircase of sorts. Regardless of the mechanisms behind what formed Badabisht, it's certainly a breathtaking sight. Number 2. Chocolate Hills. In the Bohol province in the Philippines, there's a series of 1,260 or more hills known as the Chocolate Hills, spread over an area of 20 square miles, 50 kilometers squared. Normally covered in green grass, they're named for the brown shade that the grass turns during the dry season, turning them into seemingly endless rows of Hershey's Kisses. These conical, symmetrical hills are made from limestone. Most of them measure between 98 and 164 feet, 30 to 50 meters high, with the tallest measuring 390 feet, 120 meters high. Bohol's hills are dispersed by the hundreds throughout the towns of Carmen, Batuan, and Sagbayan. Legend has it that two feuding giants brought the hills into existence by hurling rocks and boulders at one another. Their back and forth culminated into the mess of peaks known today as Chocolate Hills. A conflicting story claims that the hills were formed from a crying giant's tears. Scientists, on the other hand, believe that limestone erosion and tectonic processes created the Chocolate Hills. Those who want to experience the site in person should visit during the dry season between November and May. Number 1. Salar de Uyuni. One of the most extreme environments on Earth can be found across a 4,050 square mile, 10,490 kilometer square stretch of the Altiplano, or Andean Plateau, in modern-day Bolivia. Known as the Salar de Uyuni, or Bolivian Salt Flats, it's the world's largest salt flat. It sits at 11,995 feet, 3,656 meters above sea level. Between 30,000 and 42,000 years ago, the salt flats were part of a giant prehistoric lake called Lake Minchin. Ultimately, two modern lakes, Pupo and Uru Uru, were left behind, as well as two salt deserts known as Salar de Coipasa and the larger Salar de Uyuni. The site is perhaps best known for the stunning mirror-like effect that's produced during certain times of year when a thin layer of water from nearby lakes overflows onto the flats. This fascinating scenery not only attracts tourists, but is a lucrative extraction site for salt and lithium, which is used for powering laptops, smartphones, and electric cars, according to National Geographic. Nights are cold year-round, usually ranging between 15 and 41 degrees Fahrenheit, -9 to 5 Celsius, while daytime temperatures average between 55 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit, 13 to 20 degrees Celsius. Salar de Uyuni is home to the world's first salt hotel, Palacio de Sal, which first opened in 1995. It was located in the middle of the salt flat, but was closed down in 2002 due to environmental pollution resulting from mismanagement. Today, there are a handful of salt hotels, including one in the town of Uyuni and two that are out on the salt flats. The structures themselves and almost everything within them are carved from salt. Because the rain wears them down over time, the hotels have to be rebuilt every 10 to 15 years. In addition to the natural splendor of Salar de Uyuni and its boutique hotels, there's a train graveyard filled with old trains that once carried salt to Pacific ports. Thanks so much for watching. If you'd like to learn about more of the strangest places on Earth, let me know in the comments down below and be sure to subscribe. We'll see you next time for more amazing videos like this right here on American Eye.